Good afternoon, good evening, wherever the day may find you. My name is Paul Tranny. I was going to just kind of show you guys sky replacement and really dive into all the ins and outs of sky replacement. So thank you so much for hanging out with me. It's going to be a good day. Feel free to say hello. I'll be just kind of monitoring chat as well. And I am glad that you are here. So feel free to say hello, like I'm trying to do right now through chat. Cool. All right. Welcome, everyone. Yeah, this is Sky Replacement. I see you there. All right. Michelle, awesome. Everything's working. Let's dive into this. Let's switch gears right over here. Here I am, of course, in Photoshop. This is the latest edition, and we're going to have some fun with this. We could always kind of like hack this, which will be really fun. But the short of it is I just have an image that I actually grabbed from my library, as you can see off to the side. Really take anything you want, right? I have this black yak, right? Try to push its limits when it comes to replacing the sky. In this case, I might want to extend this. And let me just show you this really fast. I'm going to do Command J. I'm going to show you this. This is really cool. What if I want more sky as part of this image? Well, let's just go and change the canvas size really fast. And we're going to change the height to be about 6,000. Okay, so that's what we're doing. We have plenty of room up there. Check this out. A lot of you might cut this out, but let's do this. Let me show you, before I do sky replacement, which is right over here, there is content aware scale. So if I select content aware scale, let's see what happens. Okay, I'll grab this, I'll hold down the shift key, and it's gonna try to kind of stretch out. It might stretch out some of the mountains. I was hoping it wouldn't do that, but notice how it doesn't distort the yak there either. So that's just something to keep in mind if you do need to have more of a sky or more landscape or whatever. You could always try to, of course, do a, as you can see right here, content aware scale is what I was working with. Okay, so we'll come back to this one as I jump in here. And I would probably just fill this with whatever, but we want to replace the sky. I feel like this version, if I jump in here and decide to replace this sky, it's going to be too easy. So let's give it a harder job. Okay, so there's that one. Okay, that's going to be pretty easy to do, by the way. I want to kind of go over to this one, and maybe we'll do this one really fast because it should be pretty quick. Okay, but it's almost too simple because this is a solid color. Either way, this is one layer. We'll go to sky replacement right down here, sky replacement, selecting that, getting rid of that boring sky like you can see. And what it will do is you're not going to get this one initially, just so you know. Let me see. Hello, my friends, Gustavo, Miguel, Stuart, Randy. Awesome. Shane, I see you over there on YouTube. Carolina, I've never had that happen when you package up files. You must be talking about when you do that in InDesign, because InDesign is the only app that packages up files. So that's a good question. I'd have to check on that, but we will continue on. Cool. All right. When I say link in bio, by the way, that's a repost from Instagram. So that's my Instagram bio. So this is what it will default to. It'll actually default to your blue skies right in here. And that's what I'm selecting. I'm selecting the sky that I want, right? Clicking through all of these. You could take this, expand it out, right? Try out some of these other ones. Click on one that has a little bit more drama, and you can actually move it around. So you can move it up, right? So we get more of those clouds. Maybe it's a little sunnier on this side, and we can go with that. We can click OK. That's pretty easy to do. Hello, Vicky from Perth. Awesome. So that's super easy to do. We could try something more complex too. This one has even more sky right in here. And let's jump right into it. So we'll unlock that background. We will go to sky replacement for this one because it's going to have to get kind of between her legs and everything. So notice how I jump over to this one. We obviously have the previous sky that it has selected. Usama, thank you for being so kind to me. Patty, good to see you here from Lake Tahoe. Such a cool place. But it defaults to your last one. So I can go through these blue ones, right? It tends to work really easy because the original sky was blue. we can get into some more unique ones like these ones under spectacular, which I like. I love this spectacular sky. We could maybe move it up a little bit, right? And you could see the blending that's happening. Let's try to zoom in on this. And just to show you that it's actually doing some blend modes. It's doing a lighting mode, multiply, and then there's screen. I'll change it. Usually multiply is going to work better for your darker skies. Screen will work better for your lighter skies. But if you want to kind of match it up more, you can always adjust those accordingly, right? We can see the amount of lighting, right? I'll take that down and let's crank it up all the way up to the top. And you can see it's adding more of that multiply based on this lighting adjustment. Okay. I think this looks pretty good. I can kind of push this sky around. It's doing a blend. If I feel like it's weird in any place, well, I have right over here the ability to do sky brush, so extend or reduce the sky area, right? So we'll just hit that plus sign, or excuse me, we'll add a brush. Watch when I just paint here, it's actually giving me more of the sky. It might be kind of hard to see, but it's giving me more of the sky and getting rid of this like multiply blend there, okay? I could do the minus, right? And it's gonna remove the sky. So there's little tweaks that you can do for this in particular. In fact, I am going to zoom in here, and I think I am going to paint just a little bit more because I really love this sky that's going on right here. I can change that accordingly. We can see the brush size right over here. It's just doing an overlay, and that's my brush size right there that I'm controlling with my brackets. All right, pretty easy. Drop that in, maybe expand that out a little bit. We could always undo that a little bit and play with it as well. Let's try it flipped. I kind of like it this way. I think that looks pretty good. Output to new layers, okay? By the way, if you play with this a lot and really mess with the settings, Michelle or Shelly, hold down the Option key. For any Option key, for any modal dialog, if it has a cancel button, and you want to reset all the settings, you can hold down the Option key and it will change the cancel to reset. So again, pro tip right there. I think that's awesome. Let's zoom back out. Let's click OK. There it is. There's our sky replacement. What's cool about this is I was so zoomed in, by the way. Let me see. Oh, good. So honest, Janice. So awesome, Janice and Michelle. You guys are familiar with, doing all of this. Like, this is what you'd normally have to do. Is you'd have to create, or you'd have to add a layer mask, and play with it all sorts of ways. But it does everything right in one, okay, in a new layer. So I could turn that off, original, and here's my new one. I can see it actually didn't get it all the way over here. Clearly my fault. I moved it over too far. Guess what? We can select that layer. And move it over like so, and shrink it up, distort it, whatever I want to do. I think that looks pretty good, actually. Yeah, that already adds a lot of drama. So let's take a look at this. We could pick this part a little... hello, Tony. We could pick this part apart a little bit more. I feel like making this panel larger. Let's make it big. There we are. Gorgeous thumbnails now. We could see this is just a sky group. It's a linked layer. Here, this one is set to multiply. So this is the foreground lighting and the sky. So let's take a look at this. I'll hold down the Option key and I'll click on it. This is what I was painting. You can see I was painting right here. And what it was doing is like removing from that mask since I was adding more sky. So it's painting more white is what it was doing. Okay, we can go down here to the foreground. We can see that foreground, how that looks. Foreground is just a nice blend, as you can see. And then we also have this foreground color. So we can double click on that. All this does is just adds a curves. So that's what's happening. It's adding a few curves adjustment layer to make the sky match, make the scene, the foreground match the sky. So it says, hey, I need to darken it a little bit. And it darkened it accordingly. So I could always jump in here and say, hey, you know what? Let's go ahead and make this even darker. See how I'm making it darker? If I feel like I need to tweak it just a little bit more. All right. So hopefully that's pretty cool. Michael, will this be available on iPad soon? Yeah, I hope so, but there's a lot that we need to add to good old Photoshop on the iPad, and this was just added to the desktop, so I would not hold your breath. All right, so there's that one. That looks great. Let's do a Command J. Let's just put this at the top. Let's say I want to add another one here. We'll do one more sky replacement. Right, and in this case, instead of using any of these preset skies right in here, we'll open this up. We have our spectacular ones. We have our beautiful sunsets, as we can see here. Clicking right there, here's another sunset. But you can also add your own photos as well. So right down here, this little plus button, click right there, and then go out to your desktop. And by the way, it could be any image, right? I do have a clear blue sky. This is going to be pretty straightforward. I'll load this in, clear blue sky with some clouds. There it is, clear blue sky. It looks a lot like the original one. It blends those colors together. Let's add one more. Let's do this desert sky. So this, again, this is kind of a landscape and all sorts of fun things. But let's go ahead and do this desert sky. There's my desert sky that it brings in. And still, I can always adjust it as I move it up. You can see that's where the land is. I think it's cool. Do you guys see what it did here? I showed you the original image. Arsalan, hopefully you saw that. Are there any chance to add reflections? That's kind of what we're gonna have to do. So we get to like, 80, 90% there, and we kind of have to take it the last 10%. Because Photoshop's like, I don't want to take your whole job from you. But compare these two. If I loaded up a photo that had all this ground, it says, hey, you really just need the sky. So it just took the sky of that photo and placed it up there. So I think that's pretty clever that it does recognize the scene accordingly. And again, we can move that down. We could scale it up a touch, right? We can make it a little warmer, like I'm doing there. And it kind of looks actually just like a little bit more, I don't know, kind of spooky, to be honest with you. I kind of like this version. Done and done. You get the idea. Can you categorize your own skies as well? Yeah, so when you go in here and you do what I was just doing, you can create a new folder. So yes, you can. You'd create a folder. Great question, by the way. Create a folder and put all of yours in it. So we'll go back in there. Remember, we added 2. We'll go back down to sky replacement. Right, there's the last one it added. That's great. And right down here, this is where we would do that. I should have added a folder, Paul's faves, or the ones that I've added right down here, right? So that's where this one will go. Drop that in there. Drop this one in here. And I had one more that it placed, and I don't know where that one is. But here's Paul's faves right down here. You get the idea. Notice how it actually added it inside of the sunsets folder. So let's just kind of move that out. In fact, what I can do, since I'm a big fan of the ones that I just added, I could put that right up at the top and you get the idea. It's pretty easy. Dan, you are too kind to me, man. Thank you so much. You're too kind. I appreciate it. Let's go right in here to this brilliant one right here. We can see it gets a little washed out right down here. Watch what happens when I change the lighting mode to screen. Right? Boom. It's going to make it a little brighter. But this is also a case where it starts to wash her out. So let's come in here like so. And I should be able to paint and remove. Okay, so it's kind of doing it. It actually is doing it more to the sky right here, but there's a lot of spillover. So I'm playing with the shift edge. The shift edge determines how much it's going to cut into the image, right? And obviously how much it's going to fade. If you play with this too much, you're going to get a halo around it, right? But in this case, that is okay. I'm going to click OK and just output this. It's not ideally what I want, but if we take a look at these layers that it's created, I can start to turn off these different ones and see, oh, okay, here's an issue where I probably need to paint on this layer with black. right? There she is, right? Let's do it lighter, right? Like that. So again, I could make those adjustments. I don't know who mentioned it, but if it comes down to adding your reflections, it's nice that I have all these like different pieces and parts that I could use. This one's actually pretty straightforward, but I think for this one here, this first one, this is pretty dramatic. So I would actually take that original sky. Thank you so much for giving me a version that's, you know, is editable. I'll delete that layer mask. I would flip this, right, and then move it down here and start to place it right inside of, wait for it, it should be in the darker areas. Oh, I think I accidentally moved that other one because it was linked. Oops. Let's undo that a couple times. Hey, I'm glad I'm making these mistakes so you don't have to, right? We want to make sure that this is unlinked. Unlink layers. So I was accidentally moving those other layers with it, and that was my fault. I don't know if anybody caught that in chat, but now you know. So again, there we go. You can do it in Paint. Hey, great. Good for you. Do it in Paint. Whatever works for you. But now I can go in and maybe use multiply and obviously add my own layer mask and get rid of it in all these places. Let's crank this up, right, like that. And just have more of that sky color right here in the water. So again, just some manual work that I'd have to do to get this to look right. You get the idea. Yes, it's a learning opportunity. Chris, I like that. It's a learning opportunity. Can you do this in Lightroom? Not right now. So this is a very specific thing to Photoshop, to the latest version in Photoshop. If you don't see it, just go ahead, launch Creative Cloud, make sure you have your latest version, Photoshop 22.0, or if you just go up here to About Photoshop, you can see it right here. You get the idea. Cool. So I'll tweak this some more. Super easy to do, and that's what we're here to do, is make your life easier. That is the goal. Oh, what if you choose a not sky image, which is a great question. Kind of running out of time here. Let's see if I could do that really fast, because that was my original plan, is to pick a not sky image, which I had another one on my desktop. Here's an Adobe stock. Here's a not sky image. Okay, so let's just see what it does to this, just for fun. Clicking OK, and there it is. There's your not sky image. And now we have a pretty cool composite as she's looking at herself in the sky. Whoa, trippy, right? You get the idea. So have fun. Thank you, Carrie, Chris, Sandra, Krishna, Dan, and everyone. Appreciate you guys. Stay safe out there. And let me know what other topics you want to see. Feel free to follow me on all the social medias. I'll pop that up in a second. But thanks so much for watching, everybody. More tomorrow. Thank you so much. See ya.